morning, and thank you, Anil, and to the entire India television team for this opportunity to be with all of you this morning. Cold morning in Delhi here, but I'm sure the discussions will generate enough heat. I think your opening presentation has already set the tone for that. This is my first time at this summit, so very happy to be here. Some of the themes and the topics that I had in mind, I think, have kind of been laid out there with this presentation. So very interesting insights and data points. So let me just begin with a recap of how I have seen the industry evolve in the last 5 years that I have been involved with the media industry from around 2017 to where we are today in 2022. And I think one of the striking changes that I have experienced over these 5 years, and your data also shows that, is how dramatically the television viewing market and the video viewing market has changed and evolved. When I joined Prasar Bharati, I think free dish was perhaps about a 2 crore household kind of base. And today, as your data points out, we are almost at 40 million households, which is the latest estimate. But my suspicion is that estimate is still on the lower side. And there is a kind of an invisible base of free dish homes. And that number is perhaps a little higher than the 40 million, which the surveys are estimating at. And one of the key factors which has driven this change, one is, of course, what you were describing, the regulatory interventions, the pricing impact on homes and so on. But I think there's been another big shift which we were driving, which was to phase out analog terrestrial TV, which was a large network of terrestrial TV transmitters where free-to-air content of Doordarshan was available. And I think one of the key drivers for the free dish growth has also been the ATT phase out, which has compelled several homes which were content with the old rooftop antenna way of watching TV to finally take the plunge and get themselves a set-top box and become part of the larger television viewing universe. So that is one change that we've seen. The second thing, which I think is also interesting to me, is that how free dish has emerged as a sort of enabler of competitiveness in the media entertainment sector. You have had channels such as Dangal, genres such as Bhojpuri come of age, develop a niche for themselves, develop a base for themselves, again, thanks to free dish, and its reach into rural homes, especially in the Hindi-speaking market. And you have several new channels, upstart channels, challenging the incumbents, challenging the bigger media houses. So in that sense, I think free dish should also be seen as an enabler of competitiveness, which is, I think, helped the overall industry. It has created jobs, created new opportunities. And also it has created a platform for people to sample content. And then if they're interested in that content, then they could go on and subscribe and pay to whichever service that they want. So in that sense, it is also a stepping stone for a lot of new kinds of content to be sampled. It is an enabler for competition. So in that sense, I see free dish as a greater public good, which is not just delivering the Doordarshan channels, the large collection of educational channels, nearly 50 educational channels, but also acting as a force for the greater good within the media entertainment sector. So that's one big change. The other big change, of course, is what is happening with OTT and digital. We've ourselves seen our digital growth almost double every year since 2018, 2019. And today we are clocking about 1 billion plus views, digital views on YouTube alone every day, every month. across our network. And this is, a big shift for the public broadcaster, because the public broadcaster was always used to one-way communication, just putting out content on the airwaves. And what has changed with digital is that now there is instant real-time feedback, especially on social media. The feedback is not just instant, it is also sharp, very candid. And so across our network of services, and TV is just a small part of our operation, just 35 channels. While on the radio side, we have a much more complex network. We have 400 plus stations, transmitters, services. So on the radio side, it's a big shift for us to go digital and be able to get a real-time pulse of what people are tuning into, what people are listening into. While television has always been measurable with audience measurement systems, radio has, technically it has always been challenging on how to make radio measurable. So one of the things that we did in the last couple of years was to put all of our radio services on our app called the News on Air app. So no matter where you are, whether you are in India, sorry, whether you're in any part of India or anywhere in the world, you can tune in online through the app to your favorite radio service of All India Radio. And you can listen in to the live stream. Now, what this has done is the app has, several million downloads and a very active listener base. And that has given us a measurement of, what are people interested in radio? What are people listening to radio? So in a sense, it has become a proxy for us to make radio measurable. And so we've started releasing what we call News on Air live stream rankings. We do it every other week, both for the Indian market and the global market. And it gives us insights into, which cities people are tuning into. So for example, it was very interesting to us to learn that Pune is the top city for online radio listening. And then we also know which streams people are interested in every city, whether it's Bharati, whether it is FM Gold, FM Rainbow, and so on. So that is another interesting insight that has come from all this analytics. And also within a stream, which is the most popular program. So while we know that, Bharati is continuing to be popular and continuing to have a large listener base, what was very interesting for us to know was what time of the day are people listening to Bharati the most and which program. And so insights of this nature have started to emerge with all the data that's coming in. So that is a big change for us. The pandemic, of course, I'm sorry. The pandemic, of course, has had a tremendous impact in the way we work. It has forced us to think more IT, more digital. When I joined this organization 5 years back, everything was paper-based. We've gone from there to becoming an IT-based organization, a huge transition. Files have disappeared. Now everyone is on e-office and so on. So the pandemic has forced us to think differently, think more innovatively, more nimbly, think technology first, think digital first. And then, of course, everyone has read about how during the lockdown, there was a throwback to nostalgia and all of the old popular Doordarshan content, and how Doordarshan ended up at the top of the ratings deck. Of course, sustaining that was definitely going to be a challenging thing for the public broadcaster, because the public broadcaster has limited resources. We can't invest in content in the same scale that the private industry does, and which brings me to your opening presentation and one of the remarks about the cost of content. Why is content so expensive? I think this calls for some out-of-the-box thinking. It calls for some innovative thinking, especially a country like India, which has such enormous talent and such a large talent base, such diversity. We should perhaps be cost leaders as well in being able to produce high quality content at much lower costs. Perhaps this industry is looking for a Walmart moment, the way how supply side economics changed in the manufacturing retail world. Perhaps something similar needs to happen in the media world as well, where we should find innovative means, innovative technologies, innovative approaches, which can bring down the cost of creating good content. I think that is something, a problem that is waiting to be solved. The other area, which I wanted to dwell on a bit, given the broad focus of this platform on both broadband and television, is in fact a topic which is quite dear to the Honorable Prime Minister, and he's been talking about it over the last year or so on self-reliance, Atmanirbhar Bharat. I mean, it is astounding that we have not leveraged our strength as one of the biggest media markets, the largest English-speaking market as such in the open free world, that almost entire technology in the media entertainment sector is imported. And that's very unfortunate that we have not sufficiently built a local ecosystem of tech vendors to service this industry, be it transmitters, be it codecs, be it all kinds of equipment. Practically everything is imported. And as a public broadcaster, I don't know, many of you may not know this, but we invest, this is capital spending I'm talking about, with the support of the government from the grants. We invest close to between 100 and 200 crores in technology every year. And it is very unfortunate that all this infusion of funds into technology is leaving the country, because there is a very, very small base of indigenous tech vendors, tech ecosystem. And I think there is something that the entire industry should come together and do something about, because the public broadcaster alone will not be able to make this happen. It requires an industry-wide effort so that we can build self-reliance, we can build a strong tech vendor base, we can drive innovation, innovation which not only services needs in India, but is able to take great products to the rest of the world. And I think here, one of the things that I would like to highlight is the importance of standards. Take the example of 5G, for example, right? It is a fact that most of the tech standards for the broadcast industry have been framed by other countries, by entities in other markets. So when we spend on technology, the royalties go to those different entities and different companies. And I was astounded, for example, when I looked at the digital standards for television, that the royalty beneficiaries of most of the digital terrestrial standards were foreign broadcasters. So India, being the largest market, will spend money on all this infrastructure, and then the royalties go to a few foreign broadcasters. So it's very important that we also focus on indigenous standards development. And in this context, I would like to highlight the work done by IIT Kanpur and TSDSI and IIT Bombay and some of our institutions on the telecom side with 5G standards, which has finally led to an Indian version of India-specific needs being reflected in the global standards being adopted for 5G. Taking the same line of thought, we have entered into an MOU with IIT Kanpur to develop similar set of standards from a broadcasting standpoint, so that we can look at convergence between broadband world and the broadcast world. We can look at new opportunity areas like direct to mobile broadcasting by ensuring that the standards that are being framed for broadcasting in the 5G world are in line with our unique needs for being able to deliver content directly to mobiles. So this is a new area, new opportunity. I'm hopeful that our work with IIT Kanpur, with TSDSI and others will see fruition. And as was shared earlier in your presentation, the vast amounts of live streaming that is currently happening over the internet is going to raise the costs of the network as well, because the pipes are going to choke. You can't have millions of people live streaming every match or every event and expect that the telecom networks will be able to handle it. There will be buffering, there will be increasing data costs. That's bound to happen. So the way out for that is that you should have the ability to be able to offload this streaming traffic to the broadcast infrastructure when necessary. So if it is the same match being watched by millions of people, there's no reason why you need that much of traffic to flow through the internet. All of that traffic can be very easily offloaded onto the broadcast infrastructure, provided there's a way where the same apps are able to seamlessly switch from the broadband pipe to the broadcast airwaves when required. And that is where the opportunity for standards like direct to mobile broadcasting comes in. So this is a new area, and I think there is benefits for everyone here, not just the public broadcaster, but also for the big OTT platforms and all those who are invested in live streaming of mass events, be it cricket matches, be it any of our public events and so on. So this is an emerging area where we have the opportunity to establish leadership, establish standards, build a local tech ecosystem, and then spur innovation. So with these thoughts, once again, thank you to Mr. Vanwari and the entire team at India Television for this opportunity, and my very best wishes to this Video and Broadband Summit. Look forward to being associated with this platform in the years to come.